The vast Imperial Armada, a fleet unlike anything Earth had ever seen, drifted silently through the darkness of space, its massive warships gleaming coldly under distant stars. These ships were the pride of a powerful galactic empire, their sleek hulls armed with weapons that could shatter moons and technology, so advanced that many believed no force in the universe could challenge them. The commanders aboard the flagship stood tall with quiet confidence, certain that their mission was simple: to conquer Earth and add its resources and people to the Empire's growing domain. They had heard little about the planet other than rumors of primitive beings struggling with their own conflicts, and this made them underestimate humanity deeply. Messages sent to the homeworlds described Earth as a backward place, easy to overwhelm with just a fraction of their strength. The other side, Earth's leaders gathered hurriedly in underground bunkers, their faces grim but resolute. The Global Defense Coalition had been aware of the threat for months, yet nothing could have prepared them for the scale of the invasion fleet now appearing in orbit. From generals to scientists, from pilots to ordinary citizens, everyone understood the gravity of the moment. The world's greatest powers combined their forces, pooling technology and knowledge to create a defense plan against an enemy vastly superior in firepower and experience. Despite their efforts, the sheer size and speed of the Armada was terrifying. The sky above Earth's cities flickered with warning signals as the alien fleet positioned itself, ready to begin the invasion. People everywhere watched the night sky, some in awe, many in fear, as unfamiliar shapes blocked the stars and stretched across the horizon. Satellite systems attempted to scan the ships, but the Armada's advanced shielding rendered most instruments useless. On Earth's military command centers, officers transmitted orders with steady hands, trying to keep panic at bay. The strategy was to hold key locations and delay the enemy, hoping for a miracle, yet doubts weighed heavily on their minds. The Empire's previous conquests had left no room for mercy. Entire worlds had fallen without resistance, their populations assimilated or destroyed. But Earth's defenders refused to surrender. They sent their fighter jets and missile batteries into the sky, launching a barrage that lit up the darkness. But the Armada's defenses absorbed the attacks with ease, their counterstrikes shaking the ground and shattering buildings. Still, humans fought on with a determination that surprised even the coldest Imperial commanders. Strange patterns of movement and unpredictable tactics challenged the invaders' usual methods. The Earth forces adapted quickly, exploiting even the smallest weaknesses in the alien ships' formations. At the same time, scientists raced to understand the new enemy technology, seeking ways to disrupt their control systems and communication links. The battle was just beginning, but it was clear this invasion would not be a quick victory. As the Armada unleashed more firepower, the planet's surface lit up with explosions and energy beams, painting a terrifying scene of war and destruction. Yet beneath the chaos, a spark of hope remained, belief that humanity, despite its many flaws and limits, could stand against the greatest threat it had ever faced. The commanders on both sides prepared for the next phase, knowing that the coming days would decide the fate of Earth. The vastness of space had brought a new challenge to humanity, but it had also revealed the unyielding spirit that made Earth's defenders unlike any other foe. Suspense hung heavy in the air as the first shots of a cosmic war echoed across the stars, signaling that the story of Earth was about to change forever. The Imperial Armada had expected Earth's defenders to crumble quickly, but instead they faced something entirely different. Resistance that was both unexpected and deeply puzzling. From the moment the first wave of attacks began, the invaders noticed that human forces did not simply follow traditional battle tactics. Instead of forming predictable lines or falling back in orderly retreats, Earth's defenders moved with surprising agility, their actions seeming chaotic, yet surprisingly effective. The alien commanders watched as strange shapes darted across the battlefield, small F-ships weaving in and out of larger enemy fire, launching precise attacks before disappearing behind the planet's atmosphere or into narrow canyons where the massive warships could not follow. It was as if Earth itself was alive and helping its people hide and strike back. What shocked the Armada most was the discovery of secret defense systems that were not part of any known military technology. Underground bunkers released bursts of electromagnetic pulses that temporarily blinded the invaders' sensors, causing confusion and panic among their pilots. Hidden satellites, disguised as space debris, launched sudden attacks that crippled enemy engines and disrupted communication between ships. Even more mysterious were the hacking attempts by Earth's scientists, who somehow managed to infiltrate the invaders' control systems, turning their own weapons against them. The human forces did not just rely on technology. Their strategies were innovative and unpredictable. Commanders on Earth coordinated small teams to create fake retreats, luring enemy ships into traps where hidden missile batteries waited. In some battles, humans used the planet's natural features, such as massive storms and magnetic fields, to interfere with the Armada's sensors and weapons. The aliens found themselves unable to adapt to this fluid and ever-changing fighting style, which contrasted sharply with their own rigid and hierarchical battle plans. The constant changes kept the invaders off balance, forcing them to waste resources trying to understand the tactics that seemed almost like improvisation, but were actually the result of sharp minds. Working together under extreme pressure, Earth's pilots communicated with each other using secure, encrypted signals, coordinating attacks that targeted weak points the Armada had not considered. Even the smallest human vessels played vital roles, darting through gaps in the enemy fleet to deliver critical blows before slipping away unharmed. On the ground, resistance fighters sabotaged supply lines and used guerrilla tactics against alien landing forces, showing a level of courage and determination that the Armada had not anticipated. The alien commanders began to feel a growing unease. Their technological superiority was not enough to guarantee victory when facing an opponent who could think creatively and adapt instantly to new challenges. The arrogance that had once filled the halls of the Imperial flagship now gave way to frustration and fear. Every attempt to use overwhelming firepower was met with a new human countermeasure, and every calculated move was met with unexpected resistance. At the same time, Earth's scientists and engineers worked tirelessly behind the scenes, studying captured alien technology and reverse engineering it to develop new weapons and defense systems. They collaborated across borders and fields of expertise, united by a single goal: protect their home. This combined effort gave birth to innovations that stunned the invaders, including energy shields powered by Earth's magnetic field and drones that could silently disable enemy systems without detection. As battles raged on, the alien fleet suffered more losses than they could explain, their ships falling in ways that made no sense to their commanders. The situation was unlike any other campaign the Empire had ever waged. Earth's defenders were not just fighting with guns and missiles, they were fighting with their minds, with every ounce of creativity and determination humanity had. The invading forces realized that, to conquer Earth, they would have to do more than rely on brute force. They would have to understand and match the unique spirit of its people, something they had never prepared for. Suspense grew thick as both sides braced for the next phase of conflict, knowing that the coming days would test not only their weapons, but their very will to survive. The Armada had entered a battlefield where predictability was their greatest enemy, and the defenders of Earth had become masters of unpredictability, turning chaos into a weapon that threatened to destroy the invaders' greatest strengths. In this unexpected resistance, a new story of humanity's resilience was being written, one that would echo far beyond the stars and into the hearts of all who believed in the power of hope and courage. As the battle between Earth and the Imperial Armada grew fiercer, humanity's true strength began to shine through in ways the invaders had never imagined. The humans did not just rely on their existing weapons or defenses. Instead, they rapidly learned to exploit every weakness in the enemy's technology. Skilled hackers from around the world joined forces in secret command centers, working day and night to break into the Armada's artificial intelligence systems. Their success was astonishing. Once secure and untouchable, the invaders' AI started to malfunction, turning weapons off at critical moments and sending false signals that caused confusion among their own ranks. The humans took captured enemy ships and with a mixture of ingenuity and desperation, repurposed them to fight alongside Earth's forces. These reclaimed vessels became symbols of hope and defiance, proving that no matter how powerful the armadas machines were, they could be turned against their makers. Meanwhile, scientists and engineers on Earth were not resting. In workshops and labs, they pieced together scrap metal, alien technology fragments, and even everyday items to create new weapons and devices. What once seemed impossible became reality as energy weapons were fashioned from the remains of destroyed enemy ships. Shield generators that could protect entire cities sprang up from innovative designs. The planet itself became an ally. Experts found ways to use Earth's magnetic storms to disrupt enemy sensors, and they developed systems that could control weather patterns, unleashing storms at strategic locations to hinder the invaders' movements. This control over the environment added a new, unpredictable layer to the battle, one that the rigidly programmed armada could neither predict nor adapt to quickly. The invaders' military command, trained to follow strict protocols and patterns, struggled to respond to this flood of new challenges. Every time they tried to launch a calculated assault, human unpredictability and rapid innovation threw their plans into chaos. This forced the armada to change tactics again and again, but each change came to slowly against Earth's fast adaptation. Human creativity and determination acted like a storm, overwhelming the cold precision of the Empire's forces. Pilots flew daring missions, slipping through enemy lines using new stealth technologies developed in secret, while engineers remotely hacked enemy ships mid-battle, turning their own weapons against them. The aliens had never faced an enemy who could think so quickly, adapt so fast, and unite so completely under pressure. Even the morale of the invaders began to crack as reports of lost ships and failed attacks came faster than reinforcements could arrive. In one dramatic encounter, a small group of human fighters used captured armada drones to infiltrate a command ship, disabling its defenses and capturing valuable data that revealed the enemy's next moves. This victory was a turning point, proving that Earth's defenders could not only survive but take the fight directly to the heart of the Empire's forces. Behind the scenes, civilian volunteers contributed as well, building makeshift weapons and supporting the frontline efforts in ways that reminded everyone why humanity was so hard to defeat. The ingenuity of ordinary people, combined with brilliant minds in science and technology, created a force that was more than just military strength. It was the collective will of a planet fighting to protect its home. Suspense gripped the battlefields. As the Armada's commanders realized they were no longer in control, their best weapons were compromised, their AI confused, and their carefully planned operations undone by unpredictable human tactics. Each day brought new surprises, new inventions, and new victories that fueled the defenders' resolve. Earth had become a crucible where the limits of technology met the limitless potential of human creativity. And the results were changing the course of the war. The Empire had come expecting an easy conquest, but instead found a fierce and brilliant resistance that refused to be broken. The story of human ingenuity unleashed was far from over. It was just beginning, and it promised to reshape the fate of the galaxy. As the conflict wore on, the Imperial Armada, once confident and unstoppable, began to experience one devastating loss after another. Their massive warships, symbols of imperial power, fell in rapid succession, each destruction shaking the morale of the fleet and the resolve of its commanders. The invaders, faced with an enemy that had learned their weaknesses and turned their own technology against them, grew desperate. In a bid to regain control, the Armada's leaders ordered bold and risky maneuvers. Sending specialized assault teams on dangerous missions meant to cripple Earth's defenses and recover lost ground. These elite units, composed of the Empire's best soldiers and tacticians, were tasked with capturing key human strongholds and technology. Yet every step they took was anticipated by the defenders. Earth's forces, now seasoned and united, had honed their skills to predict the invaders' tactics and prepared traps that led the elite teams into deadly ambushes. In several fierce battles, humans seized control of the very ships meant to destroy them, turning these captured vessels into powerful weapons used against the Empire. Each reclaimed ship was a symbol of hope and a turning point, boosting the defenders' spirits and deepening the invaders' despair. What had begun as a struggle to survive quickly transformed into a confident and coordinated counteroffensive. Human commanders worked together, sharing intelligence and resources, coordinating strikes that hit the Armada at its weakest points. Ground forces pushed back alien landing parties, while space fleets harassed retreating ships and cut off supply lines. The tide of war had changed so dramatically that the invaders found themselves on the defensive, forced to respond to the relentless and unpredictable human attacks. The turning tide was not just a shift in battles, but a change in momentum, a moment when Earth's defenders realized they could reclaim their planet and perhaps even take the fight beyond its skies. Civilians and soldiers alike felt a growing sense of empowerment and hope as the invaders' plans unraveled. Across battlefields and cities, cheers replaced fear, and the spirit of resistance became an unstoppable force. The Imperial commanders, once so sure of victory, now faced the reality of defeat, grappling with the limits of their strategies and the ingenuity of their opponents. Desperation led them to make reckless decisions, sending more troops into traps and risking everything to hold on to their crumbling empire. Yet no matter the cost, humanity stood firm, ready to protect their home and fight for their future. The Armada's retreat was not a sign of surrender, but the start of a fierce contest for survival that would test the limits of courage, strategy, and unity. In this decisive phase of the war, every victory mattered, every plan counted, and every human soul was determined to see the end of the Empire's invasion. Suspense filled the air as both sides prepared for the battles to come, knowing the outcome would decide not only the fate of Earth, but the balance of power in the galaxy. The turning tide was clear. The era of human weakness was over, and the age of human strength and determination had arrived with unstoppable force. With the Imperial slattered Armada shattered and scattered across the stars, humanity stood victorious. United by the trials they had endured and the fierce spirit they had shown in the face of overwhelming odds, the battle for Earth had tested every ounce of human creativity, courage, and determination, and the planet's defenders had proven that their strength was more than just technology. It was the unbreakable will to survive and protect what was theirs. The ruins of destroyed warships and the scars of battle stretched across the skies and ground, but amidst the destruction, a new hope was born. Earth was no longer a quiet, forgotten world, lost at the edge of the galaxy. A rising power whose ingenuity and resilience forced other civilizations to take notice. Some looked with admiration, seeing a new ally with the potential to shift the balance of power in the cosmos. Others watched with suspicion and fear, wary of the unpredictable force that had turned the tide of an interstellar war so decisively. Diplomats and leaders from distant star systems began to send envoys, curious about the planet that had bested the great empire. But humanity did not rush into this new era blindly. The lessons of war had taught them the value of unity and caution, and they prepared carefully for the challenges ahead. Scientists and engineers who had once worked tirelessly in secret labs now led efforts to rebuild and advance, developing technology that combined alien knowledge with human innovation. The military forces, forged in battle, stood ready to defend the home they had saved and to explore the stars with new purpose. At the heart of this transformation was the human spirit, resilient, inventive, and fiercely protective. The people of Earth had discovered a power within themselves that no alien fleet could destroy, the ability to come together, adapt, and fight for their future. Stories of courage and sacrifice spread across the globe, inspiring generations and reminding everyone that no matter the threat, humanity would never back down. Yet even as celebrations filled the cities and hope grew stronger, a quiet awareness settled among the leaders and thinkers. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and mysteries, and Earth's sudden rise would not go unchallenged forever. The triumph over the Armada was only the beginning of a larger journey, one that would test humanity in new ways and require even greater strength and wisdom. But one truth remained clear to all who lived through the conflict and beyond. To underestimate Earth, to see it as anything less than a formidable force, was a grave mistake. The legacy of the invasion had reshaped the planet and its people. forging a new era defined by courage, unity, and the unyielding desire to protect their home. As Earth looked to the stars, ready to take its place among the great powers of the galaxy, the message was clear. Humanity had arrived, stronger and more determined than ever before, and the story of Earth was just beginning.